How do you feel about, I know you don't like to, you're a, I think of the day kind of person. And, you don't like to imagine future scenarios. You're very, and that's a gift, a gift that I simply do not have. I am 20 years down the line, but like
Mm.
me, pretend that you're me, and now you're putting on that hat. How do you feel about the future of banking as an industry, especially as you see telecom companies such as Airtel, um, MTN, Kenya, they have Safaricom joining the financial sector?
Mm.
Because there was a time when you were the only ones who were able to, for you were the only ones where people could get loans and save money and get interest on their loans, but things are starting to change,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they'll change even more. Right now, they some of these telecoms cannot really move the way they want to because of the regulator,
Regulation.
right? But that's, I don't imagine that happening for another 10 years.
Mm.
Eventually there'll be too much pressure to allow them to become mini banks,
Yeah.
mini financial systems. So do you worry that instead of only, say, for example, fighting, to dominate this market with, equity and BK and CBA, and that now, a couple of years down the line, you'll now also be fighting with, MTN, Momo, and Airtel Money, and Safaricom, M-Pesa.
And we already are.
Really?
We already are. They've taken up a lot of the space that banks could not. I don't know if you read the last financial inclusion report
No.
where, 98%, 96% of this country is financially included.
Mm.
But when you double click on that 96%, guess how many of those are in the
Banked?
banking sector?
Maybe 15?
It's 22%.
Mm.
So very close. 22%. Everything else is with the telcos.
Mm.
For me, it's more about partnerships than competition with the telcos, because on one end, they're able to simplify because they're not as heavily regulated as we are, and we're constrained by our legacy systems. But also for them, as there's demand for more and more services to be offered through the telcos, we expect that the regulation will also catch up with them. So the more regulated they become, probably the less agile they will be. So they will come to the same place that we are as banks.
Is that what you hope?
This is what I anticipate, because at the end of the day, we're talking about people's money. So as long as you are holding people's money, regulation will follow. We are heavily regulated because, we're sitting on people's money much more than, the mobile money companies, because the mobile money companies are keeping, the value for a much shorter time, lower value money as well, probably more customers, but the value that you and I are keeping on our mobile money wallets cannot be compared to what we're probably keeping on the bank. I stand to be corrected. But I see as more and more services are going to be demanded, I anticipate that there will be a lot more regulation also in that space.
Is that a good thing?
Regulation is good to safeguard the interest of people.
But at what cost? Because there's always a cost,
Yeah.
right? When they say that, for example, banks can't do X, Y, and Z, there's a quid pro quo. Right now, someone can wake up and take a Momo loan. To get a loan from you, even if it's okay, maybe things have slightly improved.
When
But
did you last try?
that's what I was saying. That things might have slightly improved.
Yeah.
But it's always been much easier to get money from a teleco versus a bank. So I'm wondering, is it a good thing that they're going to eventually become just like everyone else?
Maybe it's not a good thing, but I think it's two ways. The banks are also trying as much as possible to catch up with them with the telcos, right? So we're getting a lot more banks getting a lot more digitally enabled and making sure that we have scoring models in place. So, for example, today we have a Mobilon where for our customers, as long as you've had a salary coming into your account or money getting into your account regularly, you can also borrow digitally, just like you would do with Momo. And we're hoping to scale that. We want to do a lot more of that, one on our own, but also through partnerships with these telcos. So I still am a proponent for controls to make sure that people's money is safeguarded. So probably it's not the best thing that these regulations will be. I mean, the telcos are going to be as constrained as we are, but what that does is that it then provides a space for both the banks and telcos without any necessarily competing with the other, but more leveraging each other's strengths to serve the markets more.